Hey, you guys, welcome back to Beauty 503, and I'm back with my part two, bringing you more in tune with what's going on in the present. If you caught my very first episode about chronic illness and what's been happening on this journey and where the heck have I been, then you know I have been around the world and back. So this video is going to kind of bring you more to the present and let you know what has been going on with me as of lately, 2024 going into 2025. So if you see me looking down, just like before, you guys, I'm reading off of my guide, just trying to keep me on track of everything I want to say. This video hopefully won't be as long as the last one. The last one I was trying to pack a lot of information in, and I still got tons of questions about what's been going on and what's this and what's that. Yeah, it's a lot, you guys, and I just definitely want to say thank you so much for the love that I've gotten on that video. I didn't really expect anyone to watch, which was totally fine with me. It was just something that I was doing for fun. If you guys know me, you know I have a TikTok page that is doing my like recovery content and things like that, and I kind of wanted to get on YouTube and just have a channel, kind of like a diary of my life, things that I can look, over in, the next amount of years and be like, what was I doing at this age? I thought it was a pretty good, way to kind of, I don't know, keep track of your life. And then I decided to add on the whole chronic illness element. As y'all know, we don't know what's happening with TikTok. So we don't know if the tiki and the talkie is still going to be happening. So I was like, let me just go ahead and bring, people who are interested in chronic illness in over to YouTube, as well as people who may want to know about other personal things that I'll be doing, exciting, fun things that I plan on this channel. So without further ado, let's get into where am I at now. So I think it's been, I think 18 months since I've been diagnosed. And life is still a roller coaster. I can't say that it's slowed down much for me. I have been on the go, you guys, since July of 2023. Like, the ish has not stopped. As far as my symptoms, and if any new ones have arisen, yes, tons of new symptoms, you guys. I have recently been plagued with a lot of fatigue, which I kind of now know a little bit about where that's coming from, and we'll talk about it shortly. Also, a lot of joint pain, more facial swelling, mouth swelling, Raynaud's syndrome has came. I'm not sure if I have the Raynaud's phenomenon or the Raynaud's just like primary. If you guys are not familiar with what Raynaud's disease is, it's when you lose like a good adequate amount of blood flow to your hands and your feet primarily. So your outer extremities remain really, really cold, numb, tingling, while the core of your body will stay pretty, decently warm. For a while, I did not know I had Raynaud's. I would just kind of feel the cold start with my hands, but then it kind of started feeling like I was just cold all over. I would wear lots of layers to work, even in the summertime, you guys. It'd be 97 degrees outside, honey. I have a sweater on. I did not care. I would have the heat on. I feel bad for my coworkers because I know they were sweating to death, but I didn't know that it wasn't cold. I thought it was freezing. I was just the only one that was saying something. So I would turn on like a portable heater on high, and it wasn't until people were like, it's really hot in here to the point where like we would have to open up like the office door. I turned down the heat. I'm like, oh my gosh, sorry. And then I realized like my hands were freezing. I mean, metal like heaters that you can have in offices or in your house. I could literally put my hands on the heater and keep them there for a certain amount of seconds. And I wouldn't even, like, most people would put their hand in and then jump back. I had no feeling, like my hands was just like, oh, this feels good. Like, because I would get the blood circulating back, and then eventually it would get hot and then I'd pull them back. But that reaction time wasn't what other people's was, if that makes sense. Also, I had delayed capillary refill, which is like when somebody can press one of your fingers and then let go, and then they can watch, like a provider can watch um, how long it takes for like your skin color to come back into your hands. Um, Raynaud's is a little tricky to diagnose. It's also a little weird for people of color because we don't have, to me, like a whole definitive look all the time. Like, I feel like with other people that I saw their picture, it was just like they're like fair skin tone and then like pure white. And mine wasn't like that. So I felt like I didn't have Raynaud's, but I indeed do have Raynaud's. So it's really difficult for me to keep warm. Sometimes I will wear gloves indoors. I'll just wear the ones that like let your hands feel free and whatnot. I get really, really cold feet all the time. Honestly, I try just not to touch people because it's sometimes so cold, it will make someone jump back. Like, I've put my hands on people and people have been like, oh my God, like, why are you so cold? Like, what were you outside? And it'll be like, I've been inside for 30 minutes and like I'm not able to warm myself up. So I try to stay like indoors during the winter and the fall season so far, like on the days that it's really, really cold. Otherwise, bundle up, turn the heat on as soon as I get in the car, blast that joint, do whatever I need to do. I also have some little kind of wonky stuff on some of my labs. I won't get into too much technical stuff with the labs. Like I said, I don't want no tussling in the comments at all. And I feel like what somebody deems is normal and what other people think is not normal is their discretion. However, sometimes it could be the difference between people getting help with something and not, because they think something's normal and it's not normal for them in conjunction with other things that they have going on. As I explained in the first video, we are trying to prevent folks playing Dr. Dolittle over here. As I had explained, and comments was cool. I was getting private messages, and I'm just trying to ask very gracefully and nicely, you guys. I know that you guys are trying to help, and I appreciate it so much. Like I said, chronically ill people really need a squad behind them. So it doesn't matter if, you know, somebody hasn't spoken to somebody in years. If you love that person and you find out they're sick, show love, show support. And I know some people's way of trying to show like support and love is to try to fix things. This is not something that I feel like my friends and family can fix. This is between, for the most part, like me, my creator, and my medical team. I don't mind people sharing information, but keep in mind, if something seems very easy to do, 9 times out of 10, I have already done that. So sometimes it can be a little like, I don't know what the word is, like kind of frustrating when you get messages about things that are simple as like eating healthy, which I specifically stated in the last video does not work, and I cannot do that. Like, it's kind of like one of those things, like, you don't want to get irritated because you know their heart is in the right place, but at the same time it's just like, not only did I not state it, not only did I ask for grace, but if it was that easy, after almost 2 years, I would have just ate fruits and vegetables. That's what I was doing before, which was making me sicker because I can't eat raw fruits and vegetables. Hope that we cleared that up. I do miss biting into fruits and vegetables plain. I wish I could just cook me up a salad tonight and eat it. Y'all, some of the things that you guys hate eating, there's somebody out here wishing to goodness. Salads in all the gastroparesis groups that I be in, that's one of the number one things people miss. Salads. RIP to salads. May you find me at some point in life in the future, but we ain't been friends for years, and I don't see us being friends anytime soon. So thank y'all, but no thank y'all. I won't be eating any raw fruits and vegetables. I like my life. Speaking of that, I have been also receiving a lot of questions on like, what is the worst thing that can happen when you have gastroparesis? And that's a hard question to answer because the illness is not linear, as I've explained before. But I know the elephant in the room is, can you die from it? And clinically, they would say no, I'm presuming. Like, no provider has ever told me that I would be risking dying or anything like that. However, there are people who have lost their lives due to what they call gastro-related complications. So I think what people don't realize is I am considered a like higher on the mild, kind of on the like low to medium, moderate spectrum. There are a plethora of people that have gastroparesis that have it way worse than me. Like, there are people who do not eat at all. One person in one of my support groups, she has not consumed a regular like meal in over 10 years. There are people who do not eat at all. They do not eat any solids. They don't really have any liquids. They just have a feeding tube, you guys, through the heart. Some people get infusions. Some people got a feeding situation that goes to their stomach through a J tube. There's multiple ways how they do it. Some people get their intestines removed and just have a stoma. To be honest, a stoma was spoken about this past summer after a year and me still struggling and the root being my intestines. It has been in conversation for me to just remove the entire intestine. I'm honestly not ready to make that decision. That is a very emotional and personal decision that I have to make. Nobody would be responsible for the ins and outs of everything that comes with that, from the surgery to the prep to the risk to just life without a colon or a portion of my colon, possibly even removing everything down to the rectal cavity. So it could be anything from you using a bag to you using a bag temporarily and then it get reversed. It's called an ileostomy. And they can remove a portion of your colon, give you a bag, let your GI system rest, and then depending on how your body behaves within a certain amount of time, they can reverse it, tuck everything back in, hook everything back to the ruta, and you good to go. But there's a chance after getting the surgery, if your body doesn't act right and they don't feel like that's possible, then they won't remove it. And there's no way to know whether yours will be reversed or not for certain until after the surgery's done, and that's if your rectum is in a good place health-wise too, because they won't attach anything that they hadn't cut off to a rectum that is not doing good. So if you guys don't know, your gastric system is everything from like your esophagus up here all the way to the tuta, the ruta to the tuta. So everything matters. before they decide to do that surgery. But it has been in conversation. I have spoken with a trusted surgeon. Um, but yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. And I think that there's a lot more that I'm willing to explore before having to go that route. Um, I've had a lot of longer form flares since I've been diagnosed. And, as of recently, like, this summer, this fall, I had flares that lasted like close to 3 weeks. Times where I had to go most of that time without eating any solid foods. I was barely eating at all. It's still shocking to me, you guys, how freaking long I can go without consuming any food and still be okay. Like, still talking to y'all like I talking to y'all now. But it can be really scary because I don't think that is gonna be my reality forever. Like I said, nutrients is what your body needs to sustain a strong mind, a strong body, to look a certain way, everything. And yeah, so it can definitely be worrisome. But some of the flares have gotten really, really long to where there's nothing I can do but besides stop eating. Sometimes I have to use Coca-Cola, which is very acidic. I don't even really like pop, but I have to use pop to just dissolve the food in my stomach and make it even easier to digest, especially if it has not digested in a couple of days. It's a good way to like be preventative for a flare, or if you know that you're about to start a flare, to make it easier so you can progress out. It has gotten so bad that I have gone to the hospital before. I have feared that I was going to create a bezoar. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Bezoar. But it's something that you can get if you have gastroparesis. If the food is not leaving your stomach, it can form into a hard mass and it can block the duodenum, which is the tube that exits the food out of your stomach and starts putting it into your small intestine. When that doesn't happen and the body is just producing more and more and more stomach acid, I hate it, you guys. I start getting heartburn. It causes me nausea. I'm burping, and it's so irritating because I'm burping up nothing. Like, most people, when they burp, it's gross, but you can like taste your last meal. Like, I'm burping up like what tastes rotten because the food is rotting in my stomach. Like, you really have to be mindful for that because you don't want everything to just start being very aroma-ish, if y'all know what I mean. Um, but it's something sometimes in a flare you can't really have full control over. Um, so yeah, like I sometimes have Coca-Colas to kind of prevent that from happening or like lessen that from happening. Because if you get one of those, you guys, sometimes if Coca-Cola and going to the bathroom and things moving along doing stomach massage, like if you can't make it move, they have to do surgery and remove it. And then they're not going to keep doing that every time you have a flare. Like, a lot of doctors will say once you have to have one removed, they're just going to be like, that's it, you're done. You're getting a feeding tube. You're not consuming any more real food anymore because we can't keep opening you up every time you hit a flare and your stomach just decides not to process, even if it happens once. Like, it's just every time people open you up, you guys, it sounds very obvious, but it's risky. So if they have to open you up once, they're just like, what can we do to not open you up again? That's right, just install a feeding tube. And sometimes they'll do it like, you know as a preventative measure for that to happen again. So I try not to have that kind of stuff happen. So flares that are long have been really scary for me because I'm not ready to lose my privilege of eating again. And sometimes I get scared about that. Like, what if I get to a point where I lose my privilege of eating and they just decide to put me on a feeding tube and be like, yeah, you're done. Like, you don't get to eat anymore. Yeah, it's been a very scary thought for me, and it has been in conversation with weight loss. I really dipped low in the summer, and it was spoken about by a member of my care team. Like, if this keeps happening, if this doesn't get better, I'm going to suggest from your provider to your other providers that we just put you on a feeding tube and just call it a day, you know? And y'all, I love food, just like I'm sure all of you guys. Like, could you imagine never being able to eat again? Like, literally, could you imagine somebody telling you you're never going to be able to eat again? Like, your eating privileges have been revoked. Like, you don't eat nothing, not a soft food, not a hard food, not a little food, not a lot of food. You don't eat nothing. You go to the pharmacy, you pick up your little bag of everything that you need, that your body needs in liquid form. There's like a little tube attached right here, and then it filters through your system. But nothing comes into here. That stays open. It's serious stuff. So, anyways, next bullet point is work situation from hell. I really debated whether I was going to talk about this. I'm not going to talk about it in extreme detail because there's so much still happening, and I don't want certain things to possibly get out of hand. However, I do want to raise awareness to other people that may be in these predicaments, as well as this just being a marker if I need any type of evidence about some of the happenings that's been happening, which have been horrible. Work has caused me a lot of distress and emotional discomfort. I have cried in my car. I've been extremely angry, irritable. I've been very quiet just to prevent myself from, lashing out or saying something I don't mean. But when my condition started getting bad last January, January 2024, when it started getting really bad, I reached out to a elder staff member that had been with the company for years, and I told them that, I'm sick, and it's not that I can't work, but it's getting really hard to work all of my shifts all the time. I don't want to drain through my APL. I've always been one of those employees that got buku APL. And for the first time, that wasn't the case. I was starting to get kind of treated different. I felt like I was getting snappy responses when I said I had to go to the doctor, because as somebody with a new disease, you go to the doctor a lot. I've been diagnosed, and I like to speak in when I feel like I've been sick and then when I was diagnosed, because they're two different timelines. But when I was diagnosed till now, I think it's been about 18 months. Y'all, I've been to the doctor probably over 50 times since then, with ease, for any kinds of related to this pain, any kind of appointments, over 50 times with ease. That's like maybe a fourth or a third of the amount of times I've been to the doctor. I feel like I've lived there. It's a whole nother part-time job, the amount of appointments I have a week. It's ridiculous. I have gotten copious amounts of bills, like my infusions that I spoke about on the last video, just one for 20 minutes after the insurance paid. And this is supposed to be good, like employee health insurance. was $550 for me to be hooked up to a machine for 20 minutes so that my heart would continue to work and beat so I can walk up the stairs. So it wasn't an option. I had been consuming liquid pure iron, drinking it every single day for over 8 months. And my iron was getting lower. So I had no choice but to go the infusion route. And it was $550 for 20 minutes. And I didn't just have to get one. So, needless to say, it's expensive to be sick. One of my medications is $500 for 30 days. I've had to use coupons. I've had to use insurance. I've had to go back to the insurance. And when they denied me to use certain medications, I had to plead why, this is the only medication that would work. I've tried different things that were cheaper and to no avail. So, I had to get a lot of stuff rectified, you guys. It's just been insane. And work has not made this easier. They have just said little things like, oh, you can't just be going off to appointments and, technically this could happen and I'm trying to protect you, and just all these things that I feel like have never happened to me. I've always been an employee for years within this company. I've represented multiple locations, multiple departments, and never had these issues, never have been treated differently. And then as soon as I found out that I can request for accommodations, y'all, they flipped on me like I was a stranger, like I haven't been here for forever and a day. And not that I needed any reminder that these jobs don't care a lick about you. Oh, baby, something about that just like drew that line into the sand for me. I felt like it was really up and it was stuck. Like, oh, okay, I knew that. But when you go through it personally, you're like, I get it. And then you just move accordingly, So I'm doing everything the professional appropriate way. They said that there's an accommodations slip. I found it on our online portal. I filled it out. I went to the doctor. I got my medical doctor's documentation. I attached it to the form, sent the form off. They was like, you get, a response within this amount of weeks. And honey, crickets, nothing. So fast forward until this past fall. Mind you, I'm talking about something I did last year, this time last year, so the beginning of 2024. 10 months later, this past October 2024, I get a email from HR asking just like, okay, so what was the result of your accommodations? Because the person working on your case, I guess, quit, and we got new people in, and they're needing to clear out current documentations and cases so we can start on some new people. And I was like, everybody just kept saying, we're working on it. Well, we don't know yet, and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, they've been doing that for 10 months though. I said, yeah. And they were like, they can't do that. The American Disabilities Association is also working with, corporations, and they have to, at least put a denial in why, or you have to say, I can meet your accommodation, or this is what we can do. These are the options. I was like, I didn't get one option. I didn't get even you can have an extra 10-minute break. Nothing. You can get a little longer to read your email. Anything, you can go do whatever to take your medication. Nothing at all. So I won't go into a lot of detail about that. A lot of the stuff that has been said to me by important people you would not imagine. So I say all that to just say, you guys, be very, 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 very careful about thinking that a job is going to accommodate you. It is by no means your fault that you're sick. You did not do anything wrong. You didn't cause this on yourself. It wasn't something that you ate that made you in this situation. You are not to blame at all. And don't ever let a job ever make you feel like you are the blame to the reason why you are in this situation, and it's your fault and you don't deserve any accommodations, because none of that is just true at all. And I don't think that I handled it in an incorrect way. I mean, I did everything that I was supposed to. I had my paperwork, my documentation, everything in line. I just feel like the emotional mistake I could have made is just presuming that they were working on my case, that they just got busy, I was busy with appointments, and that it would get taken care of as soon as they humanly could. And that wasn't true. You know, there's reasons why corporations take a long time to do something. You know, there's stall outs, there's all kinds of things that I won't get into. I'll just say, make sure you play your cards right with employers, because you don't know what's in their deck of cards and what hand that they're going to play with you. And never think that you are an asset to the company no matter what. Companies switch up on you all the time, especially if your circumstances change, whether you can prevent them or not. But these people do not care whether you essentially live or die. Like, the company goes on. As you know, your job will be posted expeditiously after you pass, if there's a need for for that position to be filled, for you to be replaced. And rightfully so, they should, you know. But knowing how easily it is done lets you know that they're always going to be leaning on the benefit of the employee. I mean, the employer, like their company, never on the benefit of the employee. They just, don't want no extra smoke. And y'all know what that is about. So they have to play by a certain policy procedure. That's why they have forms and, things for you to fill out. Everything has to be documented, and they have to be by the book, just in case some smoke ends up happening. So I'm still working through that. I supposedly am on the tail end, so I will keep y'all in the loop of what is decided. At this point, I don't even have any specifics, just what accommodation options do you have for people who have chronic illnesses? Because they have them for chronic illnesses, because I've seen it on the employee handbook, and they have it for pregnant people. So I just want to know the specifics. They just say that they have accommodation, but it doesn't declare what they are. So that was the whole purpose of me asking them, is to know what are my options, giving my location, my position, my hours, my time. What can you offer me? And I will try my very best to make it work with that. I've done my due diligence and got my whole FMLA and my whole stuff going. So all my stuff is on the up and up on the QT with that. Okay, so new revelations, y'all. So my new revelation is that there is a underlining issue. It could be definitely interconnected. It could not be, but it's looking like I have an autoimmune disease. I am not ready to share what that specific autoimmune disease is. I have an idea of a specific one. And I have a lot of symptoms that are not digestive related that happen to go with that. Some of them that I mentioned in this video already, some of the new symptoms that are popping up. And I think they are popping up because the autoimmune, disease has been woken up. That's what they are. They're triggered by something, an infection, a sickness, some kind of trauma to the body, and now they've risen up. But I will say that it's been hell getting to that point where you have been like, I think something's going on. What is it? Doing research. I've been staying up late, Googling stuff, talking to doctors, being referred here, referred there. Like I said in the last video, I was referred recently to hematology. I never thought I'd see a hematologist in my life. I am going to be seeing a rheumatologist. I'm hoping sooner than later. I have an appointment. It is far out. They don't have any recent appointments available at the place that they've selected for me, but I'm in communication with my provider to see what they can do on their end. The clinic that they're sending me to said that there may be something that they can do to help me get in faster, as well as maybe sending me someplace else. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it because I want to start the year off as stable as possible. As you guys probably could tell, having your life derailed with grief and death of a parent and just, sickness, and then having another illness and going to the doctor over 50 times, in 18 months, it's like, I'm pretty sure you guys can imagine how busy my schedule is and how much of that has absolutely nothing to do with anything that I've planned for myself. Like, I'm still human. I want to be able to be with friends. I want to be able to be with family. I want to be able to, RSVP to events and weddings and things without having to worry about like, gosh, will I be in a flare? Well, I feel better. And not saying that this autoimmune situation is going to make everything better, but I feel like if I can get to the root cause of what's really going on, I can tailor my treatment to something that would make me be in more control and more stable with my symptoms so that I can consistently feel better. You may not be 100. You may not feel the way that somebody would feel that has absolutely nothing wrong with them, but you could feel a lot better. Like, I'm a firm believer, like, that the way I'm currently feeling is not the best I can feel, even with chronic illness. I know I can do better. I know I can feel better. And I am determined to figure out how and why. And I don't care what I have to look at. I don't know who I have to talk to, but I'm getting to the answer. And I feel like I'm on the tail end. I feel like the rheumatologist is going to be able to let me know. Sorry, y'all, I'm rubbing my hands. I'm trying to keep them warm. You guys see I took my brace off in the last video. I had my brace and I told you guys I was going to talk about that. I almost forgot. But the joint pain, as I mentioned before, the joint pain, the swelling is part of the reason why I've been wearing braces. Kind of just feels like you've been typing a whole lot, but it doesn't allow you to put a lot of pressure, weight, like carrying groceries, opening jars, brushing, detangling hair, typing, texting, any like repetitive motions. It just make you want to just chop it off. It hurts bad. So I try to just keep the circulation going, massage the hands, keep them warm, and like lower my repetitive motions in general when they start flaring. But I think all that is autoimmune related, and the sooner I get into a rheumatologist, the sooner I can figure out which one of these I have. And I battle with that because I feel like it makes me feel so determined and so like, yes, I'm getting somewhere, I'm finding some answers, like, good for me. But at the same time, it's just like when I tell people, they're like, oh, you seem really excited to be sick. Like, you're already been sick for 2 years and you want to be sick again. Like, you want to have a autoimmune disease. Oh, so you really want to have an autoimmune disease? And it's like, nobody wants to be sick, but we have to stop living in a fantasy. Like, I think your spirit can tell you what is what. And if my spirit has been telling me for the longest time something is not right, then who am I to go against myself and be like, nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm cool. Yeah, I'm straight. Everything's smooth over here. It's like being in denial is not going to get me anywhere. It's not going to make me feel any better by me just saying I'm not sick. Like, you don't have to be woe is me and feeling sorry for yourself, but you can be like, I'm not feeling my best, but guess what? I'm going to find out why, and I'm going to find a treatment, and I'm going to, have a lifestyle and a routine and regimen that works for me so that I can handle my business. I sure am. Like, it's just crazy. And so sometimes it can be a very isolating journey because, like I said, people try to mean well with what they say. And I'm starting to realize as well that being sick doesn't only affect me, it affects everybody in my life. Anybody that's in my close circle of family and friends, they're affected because I'm their loved one, and they feel a way about their loved one not being well, and I would feel the same way. But it's like reciprocity is hard for me. Like, I can feel that way about myself, or not myself, but about other people from myself. Like, if somebody is sick, I'm like, what can I do for them? How can I help support them? What do they need from me? I'm praying for them, all these things. But it's like when other people do it for me, it's not that I don't like it. It just feels a little weird, if that makes sense sometimes. So, yeah, I'm working on that and realizing that this affects everyone around me. So they're just trying to do their best to support me, and it's hard for them to hear. Like, when I'm talking like, yeah, so I'm going to be seeing a rheumatologist, and I can finally figure out what autoimmune disease I have, from someone who's not sick and their brain is not conditioned to hear a diagnosis. All they hear is, so you're sicker, so it's not getting better, so you're getting worse. Like, what's next? Like, I'm worried for you. I get texts, I'm concerned for you. And it's just like, none of that makes things better. Like, I need my team to be strong, especially when I am weak, and when I'm dealing with more things. And I know that that's hard, and that might be a really big ask of me, but I don't want people to feel bad for me, and I don't want people to worry and be concerned. Like, I need you to just be like, yeah, we're going to get to the bottom of it, and when we do, we can get you on the right regimen and you'll feel a lot better. That's what I want to hear, baby. So when y'all see me, you need to be telling me, you got this. This is nothing. It's not stopping nothing. Like, that's what I need to hear. And so my last point of the emotional roller coaster is how this has affected me socially. It has drastically affected me socially, honey. I be in the house. If I thought I hadn't been in the house before, oh, I'm really, really, like, me in the house is like this. The house in me is like that. Like, if you ever thought to yourself, what is she up to right now? I'm letting you know right now. I'm at the house, honey. I'm at the house. So, and it's nice because you can reflect, you can, focus on yourself. Spending more time at home allows me to, like, make more meals for myself, like juicing. Like, my old lifestyle is just ripping and running and working all these shifts and doing 12s and 16s and 18s and all that. Like, I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't have a walking pad. I wouldn't have an elliptical. I wouldn't be able to, be worried about lifting weights, because I'd be like, I'm worried about going back to work, going here, going there. I was picking up food on the go because I didn't have time to really sit down and have a meal and, like, really look and research things. What is this doing to my body? What's that doing to my body? What supplements I have? Like, all the things that I have been focusing on for the last 18 plus months, you guys, it takes extreme amount of patience and time. And if you are sitting over here ripping and running the streets, you are not having enough time to take care of yourself. Like, I'm on a whole spiritual journey. Again, I will talk about that in another video. It's very interesting and I'm liking it so far. But yeah, like, I don't really get invited to many places anymore. A lot of people that know I'm sick, it's not that they don't hang with me. I don't want to make it seem like I've been abandoned. It's really not that deep. And I totally get it. Like, if you're a social butterfly and stuff, being with a chronically ill girl, it's not giving, I don't know. It's not giving, let's call the chronically ill girl to hang out, because 9 times out of 10, she's probably saying she's not going to go, or it's going to take me forever today to get ready to go. And I might not want to stay out all night. I'm probably not going to want to stay out all night. I could probably do like a light dinner and stuff with you. And I can't do a lot of things that's not planned ahead of time because I got to like make sure that I'm hungry. I got to make myself hungry. So it's like, let's say it was like a friend's birthday and I knew, I don't know, a friend has a birthday on February 1st. I literally change my eating to make sure by that time on that date I'm hungry. So that could be eating a lighter lunch. It could be stopping dinner really early, like having maybe a big lunch, skipping dinner, and then I'm going to somebody's breakfast brunch. So I do a lot of things to make things happen because I have to be more intentional with being social because I'm so limited because of what's happening currently. And like I said, I hope that once I get on a proper treatment that won't be the case like forever. But for now, I'm a little bit more limited. And so I'm very serious inquiries only. Like, baby, if you one of the people that cancel all the time, don't call me. Don't call me, because I've literally planned around what you invited me to days in advance, sometimes whatever I need to be able to come to the event. So please just spare me. And are my dreams deferred in any way? Yes, there's something that I had been working on right before I got my diagnosis, that I really want to accomplish and add to my, my list of, accomplishments, accolades, licenses, and so forth. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I'm one of those people, when I'm working on something, I usually like to just keep it to myself or keep it with close folks. But I'm hoping to wrap that up soon. But I've been derailed with that a couple of times, and I've hit some bumps in the road with getting that kind of stuff done. And it's been a little stressful. I've cried. I've just brushed it off. I've been angry. I've been irritated. I've just been everything. And that's not all. It's just like rebranding for my business. So many things that I wanted to happen in 2024 when I begun 2024. I just was so sure after 6 months that it was only a matter of time before I wrestled this into submission. And I was so focused on the time, like, oh my gosh, like, by 8 months it should be, by 10 months it should be. And it wasn't. And, time is real, but it's not real, you guys. Like, time doesn't heal all things. Like, when people are like, time heals all, it doesn't. Sometimes things take longer and we don't know why. And I'm a firm believer in the will of my creator and what my creator has for me. And if they say that this is where I'm supposed to be in my life, it ain't gonna matter if I did everything around the clock to be perfect, and I never ate anything I wasn't supposed to, and I always went to my doctor's appointments, and I always took my meds on time, and I drank a whole bunch of water. Like, if he say I'm finna be sick right now and that's the season that I'm in, that's the season I'm in. It ain't got nothing to do with me. That's what he said. All I can do is try, pray, do my part, and keep it moving. But yeah, I definitely thought by Q1 of 2024, I would have wrestled everything into submission. I'd be on my meds, doing everything, and everything's going to be perfect. And I also want to keep that same energy with that autoimmune disease. I don't want to think that as soon as I get the medicine, as soon as I get the treatment, it's going to be on and popping. Because it might not. It might be somewhere, oh, that medicine doesn't work. Or, oh, that's the wrong dosage. Or, oh, you also need to be in conjunction with this medicine. Or, oh, this happened as well. You know, like, I'm still discovering so many things. Like, it's insane. I didn't even get to the part about my low white blood cells. So I'm going to save that part, I guess, the best for last. That was very scary, y'all. Like, my white blood cells have been dropping like in a matter of months. Like, I'll take my blood test, have a certain amount, take it, a few months later, dropped. And I'm not saying like drop like 5, 10, dropped. Take it again, dropped. And y'all, white blood cells are essential to life. Do you know how your immune system is when you have no good white blood cells? And they're not replicating. They're not making no new ones. I'm just dropping them. So I've been trying to stay away from anybody who got any kind of sickness. I know how irritating masks can be. Like, my face has been breaking out, not from wearing masks, but I try not to like have anything irritated more. So that's why I like to be at home, because then I could just be home alone, not have to worry about wearing no mask. But I don't know if you can even see on camera, but like the redness right here, it's just, and this is it being dissipated. It comes and goes, and then when water hits your face, it be burning. I got Epstein-Barr virus now, and it's also known as mononucleosis, which people know it as the kissing disease, but I ain't been kissing. Like, they had to run a couple other tests in conjunction to that, and they realized that I gave it to myself. Yeah, that basically means my immune system is going down. So I think I talked about this on the first video as well, but your immune system suppresses things. So when you have a virus and you get over it, it's not like you get over it and the virus is completely out of your body. There's a little bit in your body recognizes it as like, oh, that's what infected us before. We know exactly what that is. So that little bit that's in you, it is suppressed so that it doesn't make you sick. So whatever's supposed to be suppressing it ain't doing that. So it replicated all through my system, which has been causing me extreme fatigue, just all kinds of other symptoms. I always feel like I'm getting a goddamn cold. So if you see my eyes watering, my nose running, it's just inflammation, y'all. Just inflamed down here in these streets. So, but we're going to keep trucking. And that's really all I have. The video was pretty much as long as the first one, but hey, I tried, y'all. But at least now you're caught up. Now we're in Q1 of 2025. And you know where we at. We're waiting for the rheumatologist. We're doing all the stuff that we've been needing to do for the GI stuff. And we just waiting to hear what's going on with the go on. And then we can go from there. But I want to do some other fun things. I have some hot topics I want to chat about that have nothing to do with chronic illness. I also want to do some fashion stuff. I want to show some like travel stuff. I want to do some hauls, like some must-haves. I want to do so much. So hopefully this wasn't too much like doom and gloom for y'all. I promise it wasn't what I was trying to make it out to be. Hopefully it was fun and enjoyable for you guys. I hope that I inspired you guys to just stay on top of your health. Again, it's not about it being anybody's fault, but we have to take, accountability if there are things that we're doing that we could change, and having some participation in our own self-care. Like, what are we doing to make our bodies better? That's all we can ask of ourselves. So I hope you guys enjoyed this and stay tuned for our next one.